So you have plans on moving to Fort Lauderdale, but you want to avoid the worst neighborhoods in the area. So we're going to talk about that today, and I'm going to answer some of the most common questions we get regarding bad areas and good areas right here in South Florida, starting right now. Hey guys, it's Robert and welcome to my channel, which is all about real estate and living right here in South Florida. And it would mean a great deal to me if you would give me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you're interested in South Florida real estate. And of course, I am a licensed real estate agent. What I love more than anything is helping people just like you with their real estate needs. So if you have any questions, reach out anytime, and I look forward to talking with you. So without any further ado, let's dive right into today's video. All right, guys, so I wanted to make this video at this time because most people that are reaching out through this channel are relocation buyers. So if you're local or someone lives here in Florida already and they're making a local move, they already know the area, they know the landscape, they know the towns, so they kind of have an idea of where they want to go. But people that are calling are not from Florida. They're coming from another state. And a lot of times they've either never been here or they really don't know the area. So we get questions about neighborhoods all the time, and they usually come in two forms. The first one is, I don't want to be in this type of an area, which is kind of like a no-no. I'm not going to have that conversation with someone. I help all different types of people that live in all different types of neighborhoods. I'm a professional realtor. The second one is, I want to be in an area that has this criteria. So it usually has to do with safety, schools, commute, things like that. Now, a lot of these people are also looking at online data and reviews about different areas and stuff like that. So they're kind of basing their decision on this information. So there's a few different sites out there, bestplaces.net, niche.com, there's the census.gov, gives you all types of data and statistics about areas, crime rates, schools, all that type of stuff. So a lot of them are looking there, but I always ask these questions, which is very important. The first one is are you absolutely moving? Or are you just trying to gather information? So are you definitely planning a move? And if you are, have you been approved at this point? Very, very important. Some people don't even go through that point or that process of getting approved, but by doing so, it's going to show you what your budget is or what you're comfortable paying. And from there, you're going to come up with a price point, and that is going to narrow down your search a great deal. Now, you don't have to do this, but if you don't, I really can't help you that much. And also, you're going to be spread out all over South Florida, and you'll never pinpoint a place. And most people that are doing that are kind of just gathering information, and they don't really have concrete plans. So they don't have a date that's like, I'm going to be leaving X and moving to South Florida, say in 3 months or 6 months. So this is a very, very important thing. Now, one thing I can tell you about online data for sure is that you need to be careful with the information, because if you look at it and crunch these numbers, for long enough, you could really get them to say anything that you want to say. And there's a lot of areas that you look at that might not look that great as far as reviews and ratings and things like that, and you might consider an area that might not work for you, but that's not really true. Now, I've worked with many, many people over the last, 17 years now, and I know plenty of them that like certain areas of a city and certain areas they don't like. It really comes down to preference. So again, you got to be careful with this online data. So I'll give you an example. I live here in Plantation, so if you look at Plantation as far as ratings, we don't rate very high as far as schools, and we don't rate very high. I think we have a C- as far as crime and safety, but I love Plantation. I don't have any issues with living in Plantation. I know plenty of people that live here as well, family, friends, and also people that are moving here. So again, if you're looking just at the stats, it might be an area that you say, I don't want to live there because of what this data says, but you'll never ever know until you get down here to the area and go and look at some of these areas in person. So that really is the key. Unless you're going to be buying sight unseen, which most people don't do that, and you're comfortable doing that, you're going to have to come down here in person by yourself and tour some of these areas that are going to match your price point and that are going to match your wants and needs and your lifestyle. So what's important? Commute to work, schools. Again, you want to see some areas that are safer, and also price point is key. And pretty much, I guess, the most important thing, because there are certain areas that you could look at that would have the greatest stats and the greatest ratings as far as safety in schools, but can you afford to live in them? I'll give you two: Parkland and Weston. Two of the most popular cities here in the area, but they're both the most expensive as well. So even though it would be great to live there because they have great schools, they have a very safe as far as ratings and crime ratings, can you live there? So again, you need to check these things out first and get down here and get boots on the ground. So I thought the best thing to do was to show you some of the most popular areas that people wind up moving to that are reaching out to me through this channel. So there's a handful of them. That doesn't mean that the other ones, I'm not going to cover all. I think there's 32 cities here in the greater Fort Lauderdale area. I'm not going to cover every one of them, but these are the most popular ones, and I'm going to go and show you some of the stats in these areas. All right, guys, so let's start out here in Plantation, which is a city that I live in, and you can see it's right in the center of Broward County. And when I say Fort Lauderdale, guys, I'm really talking all of the greater Fort Lauderdale area or Broward County. So Fort Lauderdale is a city, but you know, if you even do a search for Fort Lauderdale, the first site that'll pop up would be the greater Fort Lauderdale area, and it includes all the cities in Broward County. So we're talking Plantation right now. So if you come down to Plantation, you're probably going to want to drive up. It's not very far drive. University between I-95 up to about Sunrise Boulevard, and then most of the stuff is right off of University as far as the city center. So you have the mall, which is in this area. So I would definitely try this area, and also West Plantation seems to be where a lot of people look at. Now there's a lot of diverse housing in Plantation as well. So there's an area here where you can get ocean access as far as boats, which is called Plantation Isles. There's 3 different neighborhoods: Plantation Harbors on Isla del Sol. So those are very, very popular, but you'd want to cruise around all of these different areas. And again, if you're looking online and you're approved and you know your price point, you can get an idea of the houses and the addresses. I would definitely cruise through these areas. Now, if you come to Plantation as far as on niche.com, which is one of the sites that gives you ratings, you can see we have an overall A-, but our schools are rated B. Housing is C. That's, I think the housing goes by price point. And crime and safety, not very good, C+. So a lot of people would look at this area and say, you know what, I would not want to move here. But again, I live here. I know plenty of people here. I had family that have gone to these schools, and a lot of friends that have had their children at these schools, and none of us had ever had an issue. So be careful with the online data. Now, the second area where a lot of people look at that are reaching out is up here, and this is Coral Springs. So if you look at Coral Springs, you can see it's a little more in the western portion of the county. So I would definitely, again, University Drive is one of those roads that goes north and south that cuts through a lot of the cities we're going to talk about. So you come straight up University right here, and you'll be coming up from Plantation straight up to Coral Springs. So you'll see a lot of the shopping again and activities and city centers in Coral Springs. Also, the main roads that go east and west, you want to hit those. So Atlantic Boulevard, you got Royal Palm, Sample, you know, a lot of these roads. So you're going to have to really come down here. But let's look at what the ratings are for Coral Springs. This is another one. So Coral Springs, Florida, suburb of Fort Lauderdale. So again, A-, just like Plantation. Crime and safety is the same, C+. Housing, C. That's because of the prices. And schools, it's another thing we didn't talk about in Plantation. You can see that they have very, very good schools, which is one of the things about Coral Springs. I forgot to mention, Plantation does not have very good school ratings. So Coral Springs is another one, guys. You definitely have to check that one out. One of the other popular ones from people reaching out. Now, the next one would be Parkland, which is just north of Coral Springs. So Parkland, you can see here, is in the northwest corner of Broward County. So, you know, a little bit out of the way, that it doesn't have much nightlife and things like that. But let's look at the ratings for Parkland. So they got an A as opposed to A+, but you can see their ratings. B+ for schools, crime and safety is a B-, nightlife B-, diversity A-. But number 2 best place to raise a family in Broward County. And there's a reason, as you get better in the ratings, the price point goes up, guys. So that's just the way it is. The nicer areas that people like, they're going to cost more money. So let's try another one, guys. Let's go to Weston, which is down here. So not far from Plantation, and it's right on the borders of the Everglades here. Convenient location as far as you can see the freeways. You have I-75 that turns into I-595 east and west. You have 75, it goes north and south. So you're not too far away, a little bit away from downtown, but still very, very desirable. And let's check the ratings for Weston. So again, Weston has an A+, so we're getting higher in the ratings. So great schools, housing C+, a little worse because it's expensive like Parkland. Crime and safety B-, nightlife B, and again, we could look at schools, very, very good schools. All A+ schools here in Weston, so there's one of the reasons why it's very popular. So if you're gonna go look at Weston, I mean, all you gotta do is drive down 75 and go west, and you can pretty much drive through the whole city here. But again, depending on your price point is really going to determine where you look in some of these cities. So a lot of these neighborhoods, very different. Prices vary, but they are on the higher side. Now another area very popular is right here again, close to Plantations, a neighboring town, and this is Davie, Florida. So again, if you come down University, you're going to cut right through the heart of Davie. And then, you know, most of the areas that people like in Davie are a little bit west. Interesting thing about Davie, you can see all this space here. Equestrian area in Davie. So there's a lot of areas in Davie that you can get these big multi-acre lots that are designed for the equestrian lifestyle. So there's stables. You'll see a lot of cows down there. So very, very interesting. But what's very popular about Davie, again, like Weston, like Parkland, like Coral Springs, is the schooling. So if you have kids that are in school, it doesn't matter if it's elementary, middle, or high school, they have very, very high ratings as far as schools and very, very good colleges. A lot of kids come from all over the country to study at a lot of these colleges in Davie. And I've done detailed videos on all of these cities, so can't go into everything right now. If you have any questions about all that, look at some of the videos on this channel that have to do with all these cities. I go into great, great detail. So let's look at the stats as far as Davie. So Davie here, again, you can see public schools B, nightlife A-, crime and safety C+. Again, very, very subjective as far as that. But schools, you can see for Davie, where's the schools here? All A+. So very, very highly rated, and one of the places that a lot of people wind up, especially ones that have young kids or are going to have young kids, where schools are important. Now, I wanted to check out another city, Fort Lauderdale, okay? The city of Fort Lauderdale, which is right here. It's kind of like covers the central portion and goes all the way to the ocean. So just plenty of different areas, going down Los Olas, down Broward Boulevard, to see the heart of Fort Lauderdale and the city. But I just wanted to show you the ratings really quick as far as Fort Lauderdale. So let's check this out. City in Florida. So you can see overall B+. So we're getting a little further down in the ratings. Every other one had at least an A or an A- as far as ratings. And you can see crime and safety is a C. It's the lowest one that we've looked at. Housing C-. That's because of the prices. Again, crime and safety, not very good. Again, C. How about the schools? Decent schools in Fort Lauderdale, rated A+. But the thing about Fort Lauderdale, if you look at some of the other sites like census.gov and some of these crime statistics sites, it's really rated really bad. And that's because it has a downtown. It has a lot of homeless population there. There's just anything that you would find in a big city, you have here in Fort Lauderdale as well. The thing is, Fort Lauderdale also has some of the most coveted real estate in the entire country, actually the world. So people come here from all over to buy properties, especially if you're into the boating life. So be careful, again, with these online stats. The point is, guys, you gotta make it down here and drive these areas. You'll never, ever know what it's like to live here without getting down here and going there yourself and driving through. Looking online, you'll never be able to tell. Now, also, a lot of other stuff we didn't talk about is anything on the east side. So people that reach out have a very specific criteria. Either they want to be by the beach and live that beach lifestyle, or they want to be a little bit further away in some of these cities that we talked about earlier today: Weston, Coral Springs, Plantation, Parkland, Davie. That's, you know, not right in the action as far as downtown or by the beach, but it's only 20 minutes away. But some people, maybe they're not looking for a house, they're looking for condos, and also people that are looking for the boating lifestyle. So if you look at the map here, you'll see all these little Finger Lakes that come all the way up and down, all these towns that go up and down the coast and throughout Fort Lauderdale, which is known as the Venice of America. So if you're into the boating lifestyle, this is where you want to look. And also condos. All these areas, all the way down from Deerfield, Lighthouse Point, Hillsborough Beach or Hillsborough Mile is very, very expensive, but Pompano Beach, Lauderdale by the Sea, and Fort Lauderdale, and even down Hollywood, Hallandale, having to do with condos and the beach type lifestyle, all of them are great options. It just matters what your lifestyle or what lifestyle you're trying to live and what you're looking for as far as type of property. And of course, as I mentioned, price point is a big, big deal. So I would definitely get approved and know what you're looking at as far as price before you do any of this, because it's really going to push you towards certain areas that you have options in. Okay, guys, we're going to wrap it up right there. If you have any questions about any of these areas or really pinpointing an area, we could really help as far as helping you with the data, where you're looking, and then kind of planning a trip for you when you come here. So I could kind of make a map or a route for you, because I know the areas very well, so you can kind of drive through them systematically instead of just going all over the county and not knowing where you're going. But again, I think it's very important for you to spend some time with you and your family on your own to do this. You don't want anybody making up your mind for you. You got to drive through these areas, and believe me, you will know pretty quickly as you get into them if this is going to work for you or not. Again, I've had people that I thought would love an area and they did not like them for whatever reason, and vice versa, where I thought they would not like it and they wound up buying there. So getting down here and planning a trip and spending some time here on your own, you know, if you're going to be moving here, very important to do that. Spend a day, spend two, spend a week while you're on vacation, but take some time driving through these areas and you'll really narrow it down, and it'll really help with your process. So I hope you got something from this video. I appreciate you watching it. If you have any questions about any of the stuff like I mentioned, or you're looking to buy or sell a house here anywhere in South Florida, I would love to be your real estate resource. All you got to do is reach out, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care.